This week on Gymwright Live, we're going to discuss why your leads aren't showing up to your intro sessions and what you can do to fix that broken sales funnel and start getting more at-bats today. But before we get into that, guys, I want to give a warm thank you to SiteRight.io as our official sponsor for this show. Every gym owner deserves to have a great website, and now there is no excuse not to have one. Upgrade your online presence by going to SiteRight.io. By the way, they are up to some big things that are happening right now, including some really special offers for the audience of this show that you definitely don't want to miss out on. So head on over to SiteRight.io, learn more about what they got going on. Also, if you are one of our many very awesome podcast listeners, but are not yet a member of our free private Facebook group, The Network, guys, you are missing out. With almost 2,000 motivated gym owners in the group, plus our team of growth specialists, you're going to find tons of great conversations, the video version of this show, and step-by-step how-tos of some of the most effective strategies out there for gym owners today. Simply visit gymwright.com/VIP to get access to that right away. We look forward to having you guys join the conversation. All right, let's get this show started. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Gymwright Live. I am your host, Markus, Gerszi, and this week we are here to discuss some of the most common pitfalls of new lead management that we are seeing these days and give you guys some suggestions and some ideas on how you can fix them and start getting more opportunities right away. So let's start with, what we're discussing here really in detail. So what we're talking about specifically, guys, is your sales funnel, which is the process from the time that someone first reaches out inquiring about your services, whether that's through your website or social media, to the time that they become a member. Now, today I'm going to be focusing exclusively on the portion from that first contact point to when they show up for their first session, whatever that is, because that's where we're seeing a lot of people waste a lot of really good opportunities, and it's really unfortunate. So why is this such a big problem, and why am I doing a show just on this topic? Well, here's the long and short of it, guys. For most of us in this business, leads are hard earned. You spend time and money toiling over developing a great website that effectively positions you to your ideal clients as an authority in your marketplace. You tirelessly crank away at all of your social media channels day in and day out, trying to come up with good content that speaks to your community and entices your members to engage, non-members to engage, and so on. You put together a referral program for your members and go through all the effort to make sure that all of them know about it and they bring in their friends and family and that all goes well. You spend countless hours and dollars dying over Facebook and Google ads, trying to crack the code on a well-performing ad set for your gym. And all of this is in hopes that you create awareness for your business and generate enough leads to keep you ahead of your attrition rate and in the net positive for member growth every month, so you can pay your bills, pay your staff well, and hopefully take home a paycheck that enables you to live your best life, right? This is a big deal. And probably the most common thing I am asked for help on or guidance on or whatever is around leads. How do I get more leads? How do I convert more leads, and so on? So I thought, because this came up several times just in this last week with some of our coaching clients that were just coming on board, that this is a big challenge for them. And when we take a look at their existing funnel, it always comes back to the same few things. And it's not that you're doing these things or not doing these things because you're trying to screw yourself or create challenges for yourself. But the reality is here, guys, is that just solving this problem, so basically just fixing the problem with the current lead flow that you have, oftentimes can already be enough to put you back in the game and get you back on a positive trajectory, right? For a lot of gyms, adding 2-3 more new members every month could be the difference between a paycheck and no paycheck, right? Or, breaking even or regressing. So that's why I'm doing this, because this does not require any more ad dollars. This does not require anything special other than a little bit more focused effort on that very front end of this relationship building process, right? So what are the most common mistakes? So what it boils down to for most people here is you're not building enough rapport early. So, for example, one of the most common issues I see is that When someone first reaches out, so someone goes to your website, they are interested, they fill out the form, you are either not getting back to people quickly enough, right? So speed, you're taking too long, period, just to get back to them and even get the conversation started. Or you're using tools and things like an online calendar, scheduling link, or having people sign up directly through your Zen Planner or MindBody link to, where they got to create a profile and then, work through that terrible interface just to try to figure out, just to try to get that first session, which is a sales opportunity for you, right? And it's always a little mind-boggling for me as to why people make that process so impersonal and have so many steps for people just for you to have a chance to sell them a membership and help them hopefully change their life, right? So let's kind of break this down. So how can we even fix this? So let's start with this really simple but critical concept you have to understand when building or evaluating your sales funnel, and that is the concept of urgency. So basically, when people first reach out, and I'm gonna generalize a little bit here, guys. I know that there's going to be unique cases, and where some of these things may not apply. But generally speaking, for most of us who are running a group-based program with maybe some individualized options, people are typically reaching out because they're trying to solve a problem. Right? Now, it may be a direct problem like, hey, I'm tired of being overweight and I have got a vacation and I need to not be fat on my vacation, right? That would be like a very obvious direct surface level issue. Or it could be indirect, right? To where they're just tired of feeling bad about themselves. They can't quite put their finger on it. Maybe they watched a movie or saw a commercial or someone said something that triggered a moment to where their pain level went beyond their threshold, their tolerance level, and cause them to now take action. Most people know, who aren't already clients of a gym somewhere, that they could be eating better and should be exercising better and more frequently and should be living a healthier lifestyle. But they all kind of deal with we all have this kind of tolerance with anything in our lives, that they just are kind of okay with a certain level of it, right? Once it's a real problem or something important comes up, then I'll do it. Or once I'm not so busy, right? And it tends to just kind of go on forever that way. But what you have to understand here is that there was a moment, a trigger that caused this pain to spike, that caused them, therefore, then to take action. So maybe then they hopped on their computer or their phone and started looking at options. And your gym comes up as an option and they take a look, they like what they see, and they fill out that getting started form. Now, you have to understand that in most cases, you were not the only form that they filled out. They probably filled out 2, 3, 4 different forms, and right away, it's already now just a race of who gets to them first, right? Who starts building rapport with them first. It's not the superior program. It's not necessarily the cheaper price. It's who starts building the most rapport first, typically is the one who's going to get their attention and probably get the sale. Because again, you got to understand that most of the people that we're dealing with are not educated around the differences between different programs and different gyms. All these decisions, guys, are based on really kind of like gut feelings and reactions to photos and verbiage and all that, which is immediately overridden by how you just make them feel. So the person who gets in touch with them and makes it feel fun and easy and gets, oh, sure, come on in, let's get this going right away, right, and moves them along quicker is typically the one who's going to win, even if they're not better than you. So all that said is they have this moment, the pain spikes, they take action, they submit the form. But what you have to understand is that the second that they hit that submit button on your form, that little voice in the back of their head that successfully talks us out of, taking action on things and procrastinating, like, oh, you're too busy to do that. You'll follow up with that next week. Or, oh, you've heard CrossFit is pretty dangerous, right? You could get hurt. You don't want to re-injure that back, do you? The little voice starts talking us out of it, and it starts bringing that little pain threshold back down slowly, but consistently. And what you have to understand, guys, is that typically that threshold of tolerance that pain is brought back down usually within 24 hours. Now, if you've read any sales books or you've heard people talk about sales and what to do with leads, they all say, call them back right away, get back to them. That's why. It's because what we want to have happen is that pain that caused them to reach out, I want access to that pain, because if I have access to that pain, that's going to allow me to make this conversation about the actual thing that they want and are struggling with and help them make a decision based on the right reasons, not just the pain comes back down and now I'm dealing with that mask that's very, very well rehearsed that I'm now up against, and I have to kind of overcome all of these like very rehearsed objections and reasons why and cost and all that. But while that pain is high, you have a better chance of getting them in the door and converting them into a new member. So that's the concept of urgency, right? So the second they hit submit, basically now it's a race to build rapport. And again, you're probably up against a handful of other gyms. So you need to get back to them as quickly as possible. So basically the ideal scenario, 20 to 30 minutes after that lead comes in, within that window would be ideal, right? If you see that lead come through and you can immediately pick up the phone and get on with them, that's going to be ideal. Now, that's not always possible. We're teaching classes. We're in the middle of something else. I get it. But if you can do it within a couple hours, that's going to be optimal too. That's going to still give you a really good fighting chance that you're either the first or one of the first to get back to them and can start that conversation. But at very least, guys, that same day. So if you had a lead come in the morning and maybe you're busy doing stuff for the whole day and then you don't really see it until maybe later that afternoon, well beyond that 2-3 hour limit, just try to get back to them that same day. Because basically once they go to sleep and wake up the next day, they're going to be far closer back to their normal comfort levels on all this stuff. And you're going to be kind of pushing a boulder uphill here for the rest of the process. I know that's not always possible, but that should be your goal. Get on with them as quickly as you can. Okay. So, you may be thinking right now, okay, yeah, well, that's great. You know, I see the lead come through. I email them right away, but they still aren't getting back to me, or it takes days before I hear back, which leads me to the other aspect of this, which is understanding that people use or prefer different mediums for communication, right? So email may be fine for a certain portion of your, target demographic, but people at different ages and different stages of life and just whatever are going to have different preferences. Some people are going to prefer email and the formality of that, and they're on top of it. The new email comes in on their phone, they get a notification, they respond right away, kind of like people would with a text message. That's great, but that's not most people. And for some, it's going to be text message, right? You send them an email, they could sit on that for 1-2 days before they have the time to sit back down and respond to emails. For them, that's a bigger undertaking. Where a text message, you could get them right away, right? And then for others, they prefer to get someone on the phone and just ask questions and have a conversation, right? So the reason why I'm bringing that back to the urgency thing is that if we let them choose just based on their habits and their convenience on when or how they're going to get back to us, we often lose that initial window right out of the gate to start building rapport. So we have an approach, and I'll walk you guys through one of my favorite sales funnel flows here, which I implement for a lot of the people, who have the bandwidth to do a better process like this, or they're in a position where every sale counts. They have to make sure they maximize every opportunity. There are other variations. This is not a one size fits all, but I think this covers all of the key points. I'm going to walk you guys through this. So basically, I prefer that as soon as I see the lead come in, the first thing you do is call them back. And if they answer, you go right into your call script and try to get them scheduled. And if they do not answer, which we already know is less than half of the people who pick up their phone and, when it's a number that they don't know, that's okay because we already know that going into it. So we have the rest of the strategy reflects that. But still, we call and we try to get them on the phone. That's the first most direct way to get them on. Now, if they don't pick up, we're going to leave them a voicemail. Very simple, basically stating who you are and that you're excited to help get them scheduled for their first session, and that you'll follow up with a text and an email as well, and that they can just get back to you with whatever works best for them so that you guys can coordinate a quick call to get to know them a bit, answer any questions they have, and help them get scheduled for their first class session, whatever. Once you hang up, you immediately follow up with both text and email, basically both mirroring the same idea of let's try to get on a call as quickly as we can so that we can get you scheduled. And again, the whole reason here is to build some meaningful rapport. If you can make it feel human as soon as possible, which is done best through a conversation, you're going to be way better off because it accelerates the relationship building and them feeling like they know you and therefore can trust you, versus even a good email exchange. It's proven, it's in the numbers. By the way, a little pro tip for you. Don't just respond quickly. I like to respond with a quick little personalized video where you can introduce yourself, just telling them at the next step is to jump on a call so you can get to know them, blah, blah, blah. Same thing I just said. This is as simple as you just pulling out your phone and saying, hey, Markus, this is so-and-so calling from ABC Gym. I just wanted to send you this quick video to let you know I'm excited to get to know you. The next step for us is to get you scheduled for your intro session is going to be to get on that call. And because, again, we're making it human, we're going above and beyond right out of the gate. That really impresses people. I know it's an extra step, but it goes a long way. Any gyms that I have implemented this in, they have increased their show rates pretty dramatically. And especially when you're in really competitive markets, because it makes it feel it's more interesting. Not everyone is doing that. Okay, so now that you're able to get them scheduled for the session, right? So let's say whatever you just did worked. You got them on the phone. The whole point of that call, by the way, should be to build rapport, right? Make this feel fun and easy, and to get them scheduled for the session and answer any questions that they have. And now we need to make sure we do everything possible to help make sure that they show up. So what I like to do is as soon as you get off of that call, I recommend sending a confirmation email right away that confirms the day and time that you got them scheduled for, what they can expect, what to wear, a link to your waiver so that they can fill that out in advance, and a link to the map and directions page on your website, and what to do if they need to cancel or reschedule for any reason. I like to include like a welcoming photo of the front of the building and any like step-by-step instructions. Like if you're, next to the 5 freeway or whatever, and you could say, hey, if you're coming north on the 5, exit Alicia and hang a left. If you're going south, hang a right. The more that you can dummy proof it, the better. Okay, so once I send that confirmation email, I also like to immediately then send a calendar invite to their email to make sure that it actually gets added to their calendar, because not everyone is going to add it to their calendar, and this is a big reason why people just get busy and they forget. So send them that calendar invite and make sure that when you do so, I always like to title it with something fun like your first workout at CrossFit Active Performance or something fun like that. But definitely don't make it feel like lame or boring. And put the address into the address section so that they can just click it and it'll either open their Apple Maps or Android or whatever. Make sure that you add your phone number to the notes section so they can basically just, again, click to call from their phone if they're having any trouble finding your gym. Then from there, that's it for the same day, right? So after you got off the call, recap, you sent the confirmation email and you sent the calendar invite. Then the same day of the actual appointment. So let's say the appointment was for, 2 days later. Great. That same morning, I'm going to send them another email that almost mirrors all the same info that I had in that confirmation email. I just reword it slightly and, basically states, hey, we're excited to see you today. Your appointment's, at 5 o'clock with Coach so-and-so. In case you haven't signed the waiver yet, please do so here. Again, here's the link to the map and directions page on our website in case you have not been by the facility before, and what they need to do if they need to reschedule. And so this is just to, again, kind of kindly remind them of the session and give them all those tools again right there at the top of their inbox. But I also like to send them a text message that same morning. And this is something to the tune of, hey, so-and-so, Markus here from CrossFit Active Performance. Looking forward to our session later today. Let me know if you have any trouble finding the place. So this is, again, just a little personal touch that shows them that, it's first of all, it's a reminder. So in case they didn't check their email, that they're going to see this on their phone, that this is a very warm, personable experience. And, it also extends them the phone number and opportunity to text in case they get lost or needed to reschedule or whatever. So that would be my suggested kind of stock flow. Now, there are going to be some different adaptations and different tools some people use. I mentioned specifically the whole online scheduler, like an Acuity or Calendly or something like that. So I want to just clarify. It's not that I don't think that those can't be really good tools. They can be in the right application. The problem is that most people do it because it's just easier for the gym owner because it's less work and they can just schedule themselves right there. I don't have to deal with a phone call and then they just show up. But here's the reality, guys. If the sales are important to you, you're going to do what's better for you and them, not just what's better for you, right? What's better for them in most cases is that they feel like they're having a really good experience as they're coming in, which means they're going to be more likely to show up and be more likely to sign up for your program because they've had more touch points with you, and they feel like they have more of a connection with you, and they're starting to get to know you, and you say you're going to do something and you follow through on it, and all those things. That helps build that relationship, and by the time they show up, are going to be more likely to buy your membership. And that helps them achieve their goal and you achieve yours, right? So I'm all about systems and automations and convenience. Don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, the priority here is hitting your numbers, not making it easier on yourself. Make it easier on yourself once you guys hit your goals, okay? Stop using that as an excuse. So anyway, I digress. So I mentioned about how to use a scheduler. So here's how I would use it. So I really like to have on the website, if we'll use that as the example, I like to have a basic lead capture form. So first name, last name, email, and mobile phone number. All 4 of these are required fields. That's the first thing that they see. And it looks like that's all there is for them to do, right? So they would hit submit. And if you didn't have an online scheduler, it would basically then take them to a thank you page. Hey, make sure you like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and maybe here's like a testimonial video on that thank you page. Great. And that's when you would then be calling them. If you were using an online scheduler, on that thank you page is where you would have your calendar link. Okay. And you should be using something that does not require them to create a username and password. So stop using Zen Planner and Mindbody or whatever, where they need to create that profile first. Keep it simple. The fewer the steps and requirements for them, the more likely they are to finish the process and actually show up. So something like Acuity and Calendly are really good tools. So on that page is where you would have the calendar where they can then choose their session. So you say, great, step 2 is to, choose your time below. And this is where they're going to then fill out their time and move on. Now, the reason why I like this process is because you're capturing their information first. They don't realize there's a second step. So that way you have all of their contact info and can now follow up with them either way. So if they, let's say, fill out that form, but they don't fill out the scheduler, then you can follow up with them and say, hey, I saw that you filled out the form. I want to just reach out and help you get scheduled. And you can go right into your process that I just walked through a moment ago. Or if they do schedule their own time using your online calendar, I still do the same flow. I still would call them or say, hey, this is Markus from CrossFit Active Performance. Saw that you filled out our form and got yourself scheduled for an intro session. I'm super pumped to meet you. I wanted to hop on a quick call with you just to introduce myself, get to know you a little bit so we can make the most of our session. And you literally follow the exact same flow that we just walked through, the phone call, rapport. I still like to send them a confirmation email. Now your calendar setup will send that same day of reminder, but I would still do and some of them also do the calendar invite, but not all do. So double check to make sure that it does and that it's doing it automatically. And if not, do it manually, but definitely send the same day text message as well. And that should be coming from your phone. That way you can actually interact with them directly right then and there. So anyway, I hope that helps you guys. Hope that was helpful. If you have any tactics that have been working really well for you to increase your show rate, please do put them in the comments below so that we can all learn from it. That's the whole power of this awesome community here in the network. We all get better together by helping each other out. So I want to say thank you to all of you motivated gym owners for joining us today. And if you found today's episode helpful, let us know in the comments below as well. Your feedback means the world to us. And if you're interested in learning how we can help you take your business to the next level, head over to gymwright.com/Markus, that's Markus, and apply for a free strategy session with me. This is where we have a world-class one-on-one business coaching program that helps you turn your gym into a thriving business that you will love to run, your staff will love to work for, and your members will be crazy about, all while you actually make a great living doing what you love. It's all possible if you are motivated enough to do the work, and that's what we do. We translate your unique vision into an actual business model and plan, and we hold your hand every step of the way to actually help you get there. Simply visit, again, gymwright.com/Markus. That's Markus with a K. to schedule your call with me, and we will see how we can help you build your dream business. So also, thanks again to our sponsor, SiteRight.io. Set up your online presence today by visiting SiteRight.io. I think they may still have a handful of spots open for their first 100 clients super deal that they made exclusively for you guys here in the network. So unless your website is already absolutely amazing and you don't have any desire to make it perform a whole lot better for a whole lot less money than any other system in the industry, be sure to contact them to learn more about how you can take advantage of their special offer. It's bananas what they're offering you guys. So head on over, check that out. Anyway, that's it for today. Get out there, build something that matters. We'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.